वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा गणपतये नमो नमः श्री सिद्धि विनायक नमो नमः अष्टविनायक नमो नमः गणपति बाप्पा मोरया गणपतये नमो नमः श्री सिद्धि विनायक नमो नमः अष्टविनायक नमो नमः गणपति बाप्पा मोरया ओम गणपतये नमो नमः श्री सिद्धि विनायक नमो नमः अष्ट विनायक नमो नमः गणपति बाप्पा मोरया ओम गणपतये नमो नमः श्री सिद्धि विनायक नमो नमः अष्ट विनायक नमो नमः गणपति बाप्पा मोरया गणपतये नमो नमः श्री सिद्धि विनायक नमो नमः अष्ट विनायक नमो नमः मंगल मूर्ति मोरया गणपतये नमो नमः श्री सिद्धि विनायक नमो नमः अष्ट विनायक नमो नमः मंगल मूर्ति मोरया ओम गणपतये नमो नमः श्री सिद्धि विनायक
Hello. Happy Friday, y'all. Happy Friday. We got one more day until I do the new love ritual, which will be tomorrow. So you can still get in on that. And I'll come and talk to you guys about that later. So I want to come and I want to speak about magic and backfiring and the things that can happen when you do spells to that you try to override somebody else's will when you do those spells, and how those spells can sometimes backfire, which is why I'm extremely careful about the work that I do. I'm going to give you a couple of scenarios. Let's say you're a landlord. Okay. And let's say that you do magic so that your tenant can't move. Well, sometimes that magic will backfire so bad to where you'll have financial trouble. When you do things like that to prevent certain situations, you can create a worse situation. So then, for example, if you are a landlord, because I know that landlords do that. They do. They will do that. Well, guess what? When you do stuff like that, it'll start to affect certain areas of their life. Maybe the tenant will get sick and they can't go to work, and then your rent ain't paid. So you got to be careful when you're doing magic. A lot of people go into it blindly. They don't understand the powers that they're dealing with, especially when you are doing things to purposely keep somebody down. That is going to end up affecting you ultimately in the end. It always does. Anytime you do magic, let's talk about this. Anytime you do magic to hold somebody back or to prevent them from doing something that is in their will, it's going to backfire on you. Anytime you do that, okay, it will backfire on you. And typically, it will involve business transactions. Typically, when it comes to dealing with somebody, and when it comes to doing what you got to do. So, for example, for example, um, if you're doing any kind of magic that involves harming another person, preventing them, stopping them, then what will happen is it's going to backfire on you every single time, especially when it involves money. You cannot expect to get good results when you're doing dirty magic like that. So what you do is you end up creating a scenario that hurts you ultimately. This is the result that you'll get. And typically results of magic will manifest around it. Now, first of all, I can see a lot of people that are actually trying to do cleanses right now. And that's you don't do cleanses during this time of the moon. You have to go by the moon cycle. So for example, I'm not going to offer any cleansing magic up until the full moon, because I know that more than likely, if you do any cleansing magic, you're going to unearth a lot of that stuff, and it's going to smack you in the forehead big time. So right now, during this time, we need to be doing manifestation, not the opposite. There's a lot of people that try to work opposite to the moon, and that's not what you're supposed to be doing. So right now we got a full moon. That is tomorrow. We will be in a full moon possibly for the next, I'd say probably 4 days going after that. Once the moon starts waning, then that is when you want to start doing any banishing. The reason why it is set up that way is because it works the way that it works. The reason why magic is set up this way is because this is what works. Okay, so I'd be very, very careful. I mean, a cleanse and a protection, you can do this at any time. It's going to be a little bit rougher on you if you're trying to do cleansing work during this time. I can sense that a lot of people are trying to do cleanses during this time because you think that it's going to make it more powerful, but it's not. Okay, so you want to be careful with doing work at the wrong time of the moon cycle. The moon is a reality on this planet. It's just a reality. Don't matter if you came from whatever galaxy you came from. If you're on this planet in this reality, this is the way that it works. Because the sun and the moon is ruling. The sun and the moon rules, period. You can try to block it out. You can try to stop it. You can try to blow up the moon. If we were to blow, because these scientists and astronauts and stuff and people, they, you know, they're always saying, oh, let's blow up the moon. You know, they always messing with the moon because they feel like the moon is a hater. Chill out. Start doing business better. For example, okay, if you are a landlord that is afraid that if a tenant leaves, you're not going to be able to put somebody else in that property, start taking better care of your property. Start taking better care of it. And then people won't want to just go ahead and move. You see what I'm saying? So when you do stuff like that, and this is very important because, you know, I know for a fact that everybody is practicing magic. Everybody. Guess what you're going to do? You're going to cause things to backfire and you're going to have more frustration than ever. You're going to cause more frustration than ever. What you have to do is you have to stop trying to cut corners, because there's a lot of people out there that like to cut corners. And they cheat. But the reality of it is that if you do it right the first time, then you're not going to have to practice magic that essentially backfires on you. Okay? You're going to have to stop doing that. I have noticed that so many times. I have noticed that with quite a few of the people that I have dealt with. You're trying to practice magic off the kilt to try to undercut or overcut or, you know, extend the situation beyond its date. And then the next thing you know, it's backfiring on you. And typically, it can take up to a couple of weeks to clear out backfiring work. I usually can break through blockages very quickly, especially when it comes to money and financial blockages. But if you are a person that is doing certain work on people, specific, specified work, then it's going to affect you. I actually had a landlord that did that to me years ago. Years ago. I was dealing with a company. These folks knew that I was moving. And they said, up, we're just going to do some spell work to make her stay. Right? Simple. Landlord, a tenant's talking about moving. Let's do some work to prevent tenant from moving. Within weeks of that, I began to experience issues on my job. How are you going to have a tenant in your property that you're doing work on to keep them down and to keep them there? When you're doing dirty magic on them, you're going to create financial trouble for yourself and for that tenant. And I found this to be true, you know, which is why, you know, ever since then, I learned that to try not to work with landlords that use magic. I really, really do. And the reason why is because real estate sells itself, essentially. You don't have to do that. So if you own a property and you're doing things like that, and I've had a landlord do, that's why I brought that up as the main example. Is when you are a landlord, this is what these folks did. They did magic to try to keep me at the house. At the time, I wasn't practicing, but I lost my job because of what they did. I lost my job. So while you're preventing, and it prevented me from paying the rent because of what they did. So while you're trying to prevent your tenant from moving so that you can keep your income coming in, you can affect them negatively, especially if they're not a practitioner and if they don't know what they're doing. So a lot of y'all out there that have not paid y'all rent, or a lot of y'all out there that you may be dealing with a landlord, all of a sudden you'll start having bad luck in your life. And you'll be like, what the hell is going on? All of a sudden folks will be acting crazy at the job. You have some kind of car accident. You know, whatever can happen. It is working against what you're trying to do when you're doing things like that. It will always work against you. Do things right, because and you know what ended up happening back then too? I remember exactly and specifically, I couldn't pay the rent because they had done magic to try to keep me in the house. Couldn't pay the rent on time. And for some reason, all of a sudden, I got robbed too. I ended up getting robbed all within the same thing. So this is another reason why it's important for you to own your own property. This is one of the reasons why I'm purchasing a home. Like, I'm in the makings of purchasing a home right now. Because some people, and guys, I'm gonna tell y'all something. You don't want to deal with a practitioner that is not reasonable, that does not have critical thinking skills. You know, you don't want to deal with a practitioner that is ignorant and has no idea what they're doing. This is one of the reasons why all of my spells work. This is one of the reasons why I get nothing but good reviews on my spell work. Because when I do spell work for you, I do it with a pure intent. Some people are doing it with an intent to control and violate others' rights. And what does it do? It causes frustration. It causes problems in your life. And it will end up costing you more money trying to remove it. Because this is what happens, guys. I swear to y'all, if I actually got $500 for every client that has came to me that saw a practitioner prior to me that was ignorant, was not a critical thinker. What's up, Loving It? You know how much I have to remove bad magic from people all the time? You know that? All the time. People will go to people that don't know what they're doing, and their intent will be very, very demonic. And they have to come to me to get that stuff removed. Because a lot of people have subconscious thoughts. When you're dealing with a practitioner, you're also dealing with their subconscious thought process, which is their fears. So this is the reason why I don't do rituals. If I'm going through something, I won't do your ritual until my mind and my heart and my spirit is cleared. So this is why a lot of people do very, very biased work, because their situation is bleeding into your situation. So right now, there's a lot of you that have went to these practitioners that do not have a strong enough mind. And guess what? The magic that they did for you is not manifesting. In fact, it's backfiring on you. Why is that? There's several different reasons. Having a biased intent, having an impure mind. Most people can't even clear their mind for 5 minutes. This is the reason why you guys come to practitioners, because all of your worries, all of your fears, all of your problems are constantly roaming through your head. A practitioner has to have a mind of their own. A practitioner cannot have a dirty mind. A practitioner cannot have problems and issues that they're dealing with, obviously, on the outward, to where they can't control a situation even if somebody paid them to. That's why they can't manifest what you want. They can't do it. You see what I'm saying? So think twice before you go to some of these people to get work done from them, because you'll get work and you'll be thinking, why did this backfire? Because your practitioner does not have a mind of their own. If you see somebody that doesn't have a mind of their own, literally this person is controlled by their subconscious. They're controlled by their fears of the world. They're controlled by what the hell people think of them. What makes you think, you know what, let me tell you what a powerful practitioner is. A powerful practitioner is somebody that don't give a damn what nobody think. You can't be a practitioner if you care about what folks think. You can't be a practitioner if you're weak-minded. You can't be a practitioner if you're obsessed with other people. That's a sign that you're not a practitioner. So right now, what I've got, and I got to go in a minute because I got a couple of readings to do, guys. By the way, I've got flash sales going on. If you guys want an authentic psychic reading, you guys know where to reach me. The link is below. My 30-minute readings will only be on sale until tomorrow at midnight. At the stroke of midnight is when the readings will go back to the regular price. So you can still get it in. And I'm booked today. I might have some openings for later on this evening if you want a same day reading. But my schedule is filling up very fast, okay? You got to have somebody that's willing to tell you the truth. Jamila, I invested in this. What's going to happen? You're not going to see a return on that investment. And then you'll say, why? And then I'll let you know why. Jamila, I got a question about this work that I did. I can see that it's having the opposite effect. I can tell you why. So quite often I have psychic readers and witches that come to me to get my readings because they know that my readings are the truth. You got some people out here that are strictly all front. It's just a front. Everything is a front. Do this for me. Lie to people for me. All of my reviews and things that I uploaded are very real because I know how to go into ritual with a clear head. I'm not thinking about my problems. I'm not thinking about my issues. I'm thinking about your issue. And I'm able to focus on that issue. Most people can't focus. They want to be witches, but they just can't focus on what they doing. Can't do it. Hi, let me tell you that 13 years ago, I did a money spell. I was to take a bath and put your money falling on me abundantly, and I lit a green candle, and I did everything the directions told me. Did you get what you wanted? First of all, guys, let me tell y'all something about money. Money spells for some of you, for most of you, are going to have to be done on a regular basis. Okay, I am a very, very powerful, experienced practitioner, and even I have to do money work every 1 to 3 months. And I'm gonna explain to you why you have to keep doing it. Hold on a minute, I'll be right back. Thank you. Daniela, her milk is here. most of y'all have to keep doing your money spells periodically. But the mistake I made was I was supposed to snuff the candle out. I blew it out. And when I came back, I'm going to the store. The walls in my bathroom were covered with flies. The whole thing with snuffing out the candle, see, this is where you create subconscious blockages. Now, I do use a candle snuffer for my candles when I'm not finished with the work. Basically, when you blow out the candle, it just represents where you may be finished with the work. But there are sometimes when I blow out my candles, that don't make a difference. Blowing out the candle is actually using the power of fire and air. So when practitioners say that, that was a practitioner that created that subconscious blockage. That little bitty minor detail should not have been the problem. It really shouldn't have been, unless somebody put that in your head that that was a problem. Okay. But I don't, from what spirit is telling me is that snuffing out the candle, blowing out the candle doesn't really matter. It doesn't. In fact, you know, first of all, the only time I will snuff out a candle is if, you know, I'm not able to watch the candle at that time, or I'm leaving my house for a long time. Otherwise, I'll keep them going. Okay. Otherwise, I'll keep them going. But if you, if you want to put the work up for later, you know, then, but otherwise you want to just let it continue to work so that it'll blow itself out. And once the work is done, this is why a lot of people should not relight candles. If the candle is burned down so far and the spirits put that candle out, let's say that the candle goes out, that's it, it's done. That's your spirits letting you know that they worked out that situation. Yeah. What's up, Carol? Hey, musically inclined, how are you? You said it caused you to have money issues for years. Well, see, yeah, you know, when you have those kind of blockages, when you're telling yourself subconsciously that the work is not going to work, or when you're going by certain rules that, you know, because this is what I will tell you. Just doing money work is not going to do it. A lot of y'all need generational hex removers, because this is the current status quo when it comes to money. The rich wants to get richer, and they want the poor to get poorer. Nobody will ever understand why. These are people that are extremely selfish, greedy, and they think it's not enough for everybody. People that are saying that it's not enough are very foolish. They're very foolish people. Okay, they have no idea what they're talking about. What's the matter, baby boy? What is it, baby boy? Poor baby. So here's the thing about it. When it comes to money work, this is an extremely sensitive topic for a lot of people. For example, when I was telling you, especially over here in Georgia, people expect, if you're in a certain position, for you to stay there, and they expect for you to just be poor, unfortunate. And the people that have money, that have things, they expect for themselves to be rich. So this is a very false sense of self, because anybody can manifest money at any time. You said there were hundreds of flies. Or I feel like what that was probably a manifestation of a hex. Spirit was trying to tell you that you have a hex on you that you need to remove. Okay, you just got to remove the hexes. Many of you, your money was hexed so that your energy could be siphoned. So that's why there's a lot of people that don't have, and there's a lot of people that have. We're having somewhat of a spiritual revolution, okay, at this moment, because that's not the way the universe sees it. The universe does not see rich people and poor people. They don't. That's stupid. You know, somebody would have to be a sociopath to want to have and want others to have not. That's somebody that's very sociopathic, somebody that enjoys seeing people suffer, somebody that enjoys seeing people at the bottom, okay? And see that those type of personalities, those people are being punished right now. Those people are being punished right now. The world has changed a whole lot. Okay? It has. It's changed a whole lot. And you know, the one thing that you got to understand is that you just have to respect other people and their will. Now, just like that keep him faithful spell that I did, that's different. That's very, very different. Okay? Because your personal health and your spiritual health, you know, could be affected by a cheating man. And we've got a lot of men out here that have a toxic masculinity, and they think that they're just supposed to go out and screw everybody in the whole world, which, you know, if that person is attached to you, then that person that they could be screwing is going to affect you. So everything is based upon the heart. It is. It's based upon the heart and the mind. The trunk don't even matter. It does matter. Let me take that back. It does matter, but when it comes to it, one cannot function without the other. Okay? Well, I do money work all the time that works. But, you know, for me, I've constantly got people trying to work against my magic, and it always ends up backfiring on them. It does. It always does. Especially when it comes to the witchy community. You know, what affects one person is going to affect us all, essentially. And, you know, you're not a real witch when you're trying to harm other people's families. Okay? Because it should be personal to what you're doing. That means that a person is not focused. Okay? If you see somebody that has a lot of whatever, and you see somebody that has an abundance, and they ain't and you know what I'm saying, they ain't said nothing to you, and then you begin to attack that person because you know, you feel like I've got to feel like the bigger person. Well, see, that's a negative relationship with money. Very, very negative relationship with money. I'm going to do some money readings. I'll probably do an all-in-one money reading because this is the hardest thing for people to grasp, which is why most people have no money except for during income tax time. They can't produce thousands of dollars unless they have an income tax return. And that ain't something that the IRS did. The IRS didn't do that. That's you doing that. People been hurting my family with all kind of ugly spells. You have to get reversals. If people have been hurting you and your family with ugly spells and black magic, it's as simple as a reversal. Otherwise, the magic that person did can and will affect you if you're not aware of it. in particular with that landlord situation that I was talking about. You got a tenant that pays their rent every month on time, and then you trying to, and instead of you seeing and appreciating how lucky you are to have a good tenant that pays their rent, you're doing magic to try to force them to stay, even though whatever reason they want to move, whatever reason personal, whatever reason is related to the house, whatever or apartment, for whatever reason, you're doing magic, and then all of a sudden tenant ain't gonna pay on time, and then you sitting up here trying to go to court talking about this person ain't paid their rent, so I want to evict them. And see, if you're smart, if you're the tenant, you'll show up in court and you'll say, Your Honor, you know, this happened, and I just needed more time to pay the rent. And the judge is going to say, give this person time to pay the rent because you created an environment to where that person was in a disadvantage. And see, we've got a lot of slum lords out there, and people are just very scummy and slummy, Kim Bean, you have to be extremely experienced to be able to remove a generational curse off of yourself. And from what it sounds, if you did a simple money bath and it resulted in a bunch of flies, you need either a high priestess or a high priest. Because when you're dealing with a generational curse, that's a good question. When you're dealing with a generational curse, you're dealing with demons. You're dealing with entities. Everybody does not have the power to banish an entity. Everybody doesn't have that power. They don't. Chanel Brown, that's actually not true. That's actually not true, Chanel Brown. But if you want to take her advice, Kim Bean, go ahead. You're going to probably continue to have those money problems. Your family is cursed because of a demon. Okay? Your family is cursed because of a demonic entity. If a demon will sit up there taking a bath and prayers ain't going to do nothing. And a black candle is not enough. No, it's not. It's not enough. A black candle is not going to remove a generational hex from you. It's not. And I've even noticed that some of these practitioners have been trying to remove generational curses, but the stuff has been backfiring because they saw me doing it, because I offered them. They're not cheap. They're not. It's not cheap to remove a generational hex. You have to go to somebody that is experienced. Now, for me, I will give you tips and I will give you advice on how to remove it. She can go to whoever she wants to go to. But the bottom line is that if you don't know, you have to know what it is and know the proper visualization tools as well as who to contact is what you have to do. And you have to know exactly what to do and what to say. And it's not just saying, please remove this generational curse. No, if that were the case, 80 to 90% of this world would not be generationally cursed if it was that simple. It's not that simple. There's a lot of things at play when you're doing that kind of ritual. This is why that is my most expensive ritual, removing a generational curse. You have to also be a medium, and you have to know how to contact the dead, because some of y'all are removing generational curses and your father and your mother may be dead. I remove a lot of generational curses from people that are deceased. In fact, your ancestors will be tormented in the other realm dealing with this stuff, and they will send you to me. That's who brings you to me, is your ancestors that brings you to me. It's not YouTube. It's not, some man on YouTube that said, oh, her spells work. No, that's not who brings you to me. Typically, your ancestors will come to me and say, this is what needs to be done. My family member is going to contact you to get this hex removed because it's still affecting your loved ones in the afterlife. So prayer ain't gonna do it. Taking a bath ain't gonna do that. That's something that's gonna require a lot of fire. It's gonna require all of those things. It's gonna require for your practitioner to be healthy. Practitioners have to be healthy, in particular a healer. I have people sending all kind of diseases and stuff to me all the time. All I do is heal myself of that. So your practitioner has to be healed. They have to be able to contact the dead. They have to be able to have free thought. People that don't have freedom of thought, people that are still being mind controlled, cannot do any kind of magic. Anybody under any type of hex, anybody that's under any type of mind control, they're thinking about the mind control instead of thinking about the work that they're doing. So they can't really focus. They can't focus. So, when I began to offer generational curse removals, I noticed that there were other practitioners who are not real practitioners that were probably saying, well, Jamila, because they always talk about me. And then you'll go to them and you'll say, well, I'm going to save money. No, you're not. You're not going to save any money. In fact, you're going to lose money. Because what they'll do is they'll say, well, I'll offer you the spell for $500. No. Stop trusting those people. Those people are going to lead you into death and darkness. Y'all got to understand that this is not about what's cheap. So I've got some and they're not practitioners. These are people that use this as a hustle. They don't really know what the hell they're doing. In fact, half of them are afraid to do a ritual. Half of them are. And I've done rituals to where a demon went straight into my heart and tried to kill me. That was the last time that a demon tried me, was when I did that ritual. And it literally tried to jump inside of my heart chakra and tried to stop my heart before I could remove it. When I survived that, it was over. It was over. That's it. So you got to understand that a practitioner has to be willing to put their life on the line for you. How many of them are willing to do that? They won't even put the life on the line for their own kids. They're not even willing to put their life on the line for their own children. What makes you think they're going to do it for you? Or that they even have the capability? So be careful out there, because I already know, look, I already know that a lot of y'all have went to these people that have lied to y'all and have said, okay, I can do the ritual for you cheaper. And you end up with problems because they don't know what they're doing. Just looking at a candle. I've came on here several times and I've showed my work to you guys. Doesn't mean that a person is going to know how to recreate that work. What's up, Rochelle Green? How are you? Blessings to you too, babe. You're battling a lot of demons when you're removing a curse. Most people can't even deal with their own demons. A lot of these practitioners, especially when they don't accept how they look, when they don't like themselves, Those are basic things, the basic things that are the magician. Basic. There's a lot of people that don't even have the basic knowledge of magic, especially when you're talking about prayers. Let me tell you what a prayer is. Okay, a prayer is very different from an affirmation. A prayer is very different than somebody that has the ability to banish a negative spirit. A prayer is a request. A real practitioner is going to do a demand. Okay? A prayer is a solemn request for help or expression of thanks addressed to God or an object of worship. That's what a prayer is. A prayer is a religious service, especially a regular one, at which people gather in order to pray together, an earnest hope or wish. Let's look up the word solemn. Okay, so I don't do prayer. I do demands. Solemn is formal and dignified, not cheerful or smiling, serious, characterized by deep sincerity. That's what solemn means. How many of y'all have seen people praying in the church and ain't nothing happen? Nothing. Nothing happens. The situation just continues to go on and on and on. Because that person doesn't have a general knowledge or an understanding of what's happening. Health problems that run in your family is an example of a generational hex. You know how many people have figured out the secret? Do you know how many people have figured out the secret and they have banished a lot of those health problems that affect a lot of people? Y'all notice that? Everybody in your family probably on high blood pressure medicine and they probably all got diabetes. But there's just one or two people, and trust me, they're not going to associate with folks that don't know. Because those folks that don't know is constantly telling them, you're sick like us. We weren't able to overcome this, so you can't either. Because remember, it runs in our family. And then you got folks that have figured out and discovered the secret, which is number one, staying away from these folks. Staying away from them. But then also, they have figured out a way to go ahead and beat all of that. And they are not afflicted by the same thing that has been bestowed on the rest of the family. Okay? So y'all got to understand that most people don't know what they're doing when it comes to magic.
Oh. Yeah.
Okay? So you got to understand what you're dealing with. You're not dealing with entities. Look, the who you're praying to is the same demon that's destroying you. So you're going to pray to that demon and ask it to remove something? No. How can you do that? It's not going to give you anything. It's not going to detach itself from you unless you tell it to. Otherwise, you'll just be going around in circles. So there's a lot of you right now, and there's a lot of you practitioners right now. You got folks contacting you left and right. My spell didn't work. It backfired. I ended up having all these problems. That is because that practitioner has no idea what they're doing. And I've warned you guys about that. I have given you guys plenty of warning about fake practitioners on here. The reason why they all come after me and attack me is because my spells work. And one of them was even bragging about sending her bad energy to me and not being able to get rid of that bad energy. A real practitioner knows how to banish something into oblivion. That is what an experienced practitioner knows how to do. So, because I don't have nobody right now contacting me saying that my spell didn't work with you. Nobody does that to me. Why did they do that? Because I know what I'm doing. That's the reason why I don't get feedback and kickback from folks. I don't have people emailing me constantly telling me my spell didn't work, blah, blah, blah. I don't have those problems. And the reason why is because I know what I'm doing. A lot of these people think that it's simple. And let me tell y'all something. Some of these practitioners don't even know how to read and write. How you going to do a spell and you don't know how to read and write? So I do it the old-fashioned way, to where I write you out a petition. And it's not necessarily, it's an affirmation. It's where you're saying this will happen. This will manifest, and then it does. And you know what, Rochelle? I have had upwards to, probably since I started my practice, I've had thousands of people that come to me, and only a select few of them even leave reviews, because a lot of them are really superstitious, and when they get what they want, they just like, okay, I got to go. You know what I'm saying? So luckily, those few people, were able to leave those reviews for me. And by the way, my website confirms it. I don't have the capability to go on there and fake those reviews at all. It has to be somebody that is a real client. I actually had a client that I sent an invoice to do her work. And she put the review on the website, but the website still has not published it. And that is because they could not confirm that client purchased that. And that's because it was an invoice, because I send out invoices quite often. Okay, so a lot of y'all right now, y'all got magic backfiring on you because you done seen these fake practitioners. Okay, and a lot of y'all will know that it's a fraud, but because that person is offering you a spell for $100, $200, undercutting me, when this, especially this one specific person, this person thinks that she's my #1 competition, and she's not. Because this person figured out that I wasn't going to be friends with her ever. And she was actually telling people that she's friends with me just so that they would trust her to send her money. So I've told you guys about this. And now you done went to this person and you done paid less money. Hey, you done paid less and you got less. You get what you pay for. If a practitioner is not able to sustain themselves, then what are you going to do? Reason why I charge the money that I charge is because I know how much energy it's going to take for me to do that work. And I have to sometimes be able to rebuild and charge my energy so that I can do that spell work for you. Also, if a person is just charging you, because I've actually had people that came to me and they said, I went and got a cleanse from somebody for $100. It ain't going to work. My cleanses are $400. Sometimes I'll put them on sale for $300. And that is because there are people out there that are undercutting me, because a lot of you choose to still go to these people. And you end up having the full moon come, and then all of a sudden that crap is backfiring on you big time. The clients that came to me, they live in their life. I had a client that came to me to do some love work. He contacted her within 24 hours. Then also, guys, there are some of these practitioners on here, black and white, because there's black people that can be racist against other blacks. Okay. And then there's also other people that are racist against blacks. So a lot of you will go to them, and why does the complete opposite happen during the work that you do? Why is because that person is very, very biased, and they don't want your work to work. Oh yeah, you definitely want to cleanse the children. You definitely want to cleanse your children. Yes, you do. Children are a lot different. It just depends on what's going on. If it's like a mild infestation, then I can cleanse everybody together since the children are a part of your womb. But when the children get older, then you have to do them by themselves. When children are very young, you can cleanse them along with yourself with your womb because they still have a very powerful womb attachment. But once a child becomes 20, 30, 40, 50, then they would need to have their own cleanse separately. Unless you have a practitioner that's directing energy specifically towards that one child, it just depends on the situation. Okay. So when it comes to doing spiritual work, please do not think that this is for entertainment purposes only. It's not. It's not for entertainment purposes only. And it can cause a lot of disaster in your life if you go to the wrong practitioner. So like I said, now that you know that that person that you went to, their spells are backfiring, you guys can come to me for all of my readings are on sale. 30-minute readings are only $30. And I'm doing this for you because I know you done went somewhere, you done got caught up in somebody's image, you done got caught up in some crap. So I know you done went to that person and that person screwed you. So I'm doing this for you. I'm not just doing this for me. I'm doing this for you. And I don't want to continue to have this conversation with people. Clearly, there's some people that are feeding these bad fake practitioners still, and you got to stop it. So I am here. 30-minute readings are only $30. 60-minute readings are $60, and my consultations are only $75. I am accepting new clients for court case work. This is the one thing that I want to tell you. Going to more than one practitioner is stupid. Do not do that. I have a client right now that went to more than one practitioner, shows more respect for that practitioner by paying this practitioner instead of paying me, and it's going to backfire on that person. You do not go to more than one witch is not going to do it. And when you don't have trust in the practitioner that you have went to, that's ridiculous. Exactly, Donnelly. I got folks that's going to other practitioners, and in fact, these practitioners are doing magic just to sponge money off of them, but they're not really doing anything. Some of these practitioners, they just here to take your money. They're not here to give you authentic work. So now it's backfiring. You don't need to go to more than one witch to get work done. You don't need to do that. Stop doing that. Because sometimes the practitioner that you're dealing with has an intent for you based upon your sex, your race, okay, or just because they hate everybody. You can't go to a practitioner that has hatred for everybody can't do nothing for you. Yeah, I've not been telling people this for the longest. And I can tell when you're going to see another practitioner. I can tell. My spirits always tell me. And that's because you probably, was paying attention to all this fake stuff that's going to look, all that is fake. All of my competitors are fakes. They're frauds. If they were my competitors, would they be coming for me? Nope. They're under me. Do you see any of the serious practitioners on here saying anything about me? No, not except for one. And I'm not even going to speak on that person no more because, that's just not, yeah. Okay. None of the ones that are serious practitioners come for me. They don't. And the reason why they don't is because they don't have to. They don't have to discredit me. I don't understand that anyway. Don't know what they doing. Don't know what's going on. They don't even know what's going on in their own life. They don't even know what's going on in their own life. They have no idea. And they're going to bring you into that confusion to where it's going to create confusion into your life. An abundance of confusion is basically what it is. And I've seen people that all of their spells backfire. One of the reasons why is because of me. You know that I can see people's ritual. Guys, the other day I had the crazy, oh my God, I got to tell y'all about this. There was a guy, right? He was writing out a petition for me. I closed my eyes. And so my vision is starting to become much more clearer. So I can tell you who is a real practitioner. Even the ones that come for me, I can tell you who's real. This guy wrote out a petition. I closed my eyes. I could see his petition right there. It had my name and his intent on it. So now, not only am I picking up on the energy of the rituals, I can actually see what you're doing. I can actually see what people are doing. A lot of the fake stuff that is done, especially against me on here, it is done to prove to you that I'm a real practitioner. That's why it's done. Anytime you hear anybody talking crazy about me, it is because I am an authentic practitioner. And you know what? It's very easy for YouTube to fool you because people are very visionary. You know what I'm saying? When they see something, they assume, oh yeah, what she does is working. Please understand that there are some people, that it's some people that have actually paid other people to discredit me. Now, if somebody is willing to pay somebody to discredit me, what do you think that they're doing? You think they got any power? You think they got anything? Would I ever take my hard-earned money and go and pay somebody to discredit somebody? No, my money goes for my family and my children and my life. You got to have a practitioner that has if a practitioner is the 7 of Cups and they can't even set their own priorities, what do you think they're going to do to you? So I'm always here for you guys. I don't mind taking on their bad energy. I'm a healer. That's what I do. I heal. I've had manifestations of a lot of symptoms. Doesn't mean that that doesn't mean that I'm not going to heal. So if you've went to a practitioner that screwed you up, then I'm definitely willing to deal with that. And the first thing that I'm going to tell you is that you're going to have to remove the curse. There are some practitioners that everything that they touch is cursed, including you. Everything they touch withers and wilts and dies. How do you think that that practitioner is going to do anything for you? The only thing that they can do is destroy what you have. So it's, you don't have to give up, because you'll go to that person and you'll say, shoot, I went and I tried this person and they didn't work. So I'm just going to give up on on using spiritualists. I am willing to take on those cases. I do it all the time. Because all their stuff backfires one way or the other. Okay. Anyway, guys, I gotta go because I have an appointment scheduled and I got stuff to do. Hold on a minute. Let me. I just got another review that's gonna go up on the website. Hold on a minute. I did a love reunion for somebody years ago, and this person had moved back to their country. And I actually moved this person all the way back to the US. Okay, and there's a lot of people that will tell you that they work ain't gonna work beyond the state that they live in. Okay. And so, hold on a minute, guys. So I'm always here for you guys. Don't be embarrassed. And then also make sure that you're being fully transparent and just let me know, look, I went to this practitioner. This person screwed me. I've been trying to contact them. I've been calling them back to back. Those are those back to back calls that they get from folks that's telling them that they spell ain't working. And they angry and they mad. I personally think that the queen of the god of witches has cursed those people. Because it's certain stuff that you ain't supposed to do. You definitely ain't supposed to be trying to interfere with the business of another witch. So I don't mind, getting into y'all stuff with these other people. And so a lot of them will say, well, I'm so feared and everybody is afraid of me. That's your first sign that that person is a fraud. So they'll have their clients being scared of them. No, ain't none of my clients scared of me. There's some of my clients, they'll send me an email and they'll say whatever they got to say to me. They don't have to be scared of me. What's the fear about? I don't need that kind of interaction. That's negativity. That's a manifestation of a hex. So I'll see y'all later. Because I feel very strongly about this, because I'm tired of y'all thinking. Also, another thing, y'all think that just because these cowards run in packs that they're more powerful. I'm a solitary practitioner and I don't need to run with no pack. I don't even have time for that. Yeah, eventually I will have a coven, but that's going to come in time. That's just because I like people. Okay? So I'll see y'all later. Love and light. If you guys want to reach me, the best way to reach me, the link to my website is below. And I'll see y'all